Hi, Capricorn rising sign. Here is your weekly forecast starting on the 9th of February until the 15th of February. So you have got a triple conjunction happening in your third house between Mercury, Pallas Athene, and the North Node. And the third house is the house of learning, communication, siblings, and your local environment. So you can be having a conversation with a sibling or a neighbor that might reveal a piece of information you have been missing, and then you can start seeing the bigger picture. Or you might find yourself speaking or writing in a way that is a little bit more fluid, kind of like less Saturnian than usual. Or I can imagine that you are starting to notice some recurring symbols or messages, in your immediate surroundings. Like imagine that I don't know, you see the same numbers, for example, through graffitis, signs, and so forth. And then you start wondering what the spiritual message is behind those. Or you might be ready to revisit a skill or a subject that you studied years ago, and then now you kind of looking at those studies with a pair of new, fresh eyes. Or even you might be a little bit more strategic about how you craft your emails, using a bit of a soft power, a little bit of an intuition as well to kind of get the results. Also, we've got Sun in your second house, sextiling Chiron in your fourth house in the sign of Aries. And this is about often an indication that we learn to value the past, even though when we come from hardship. It's the realization that, you know what, this was somehow beneficial for me to happen, to be where I am right now. But we can also start seeing the patterns, for example, how the family upbringing might be holding me back from financial success. Or, it could even indicate that I want to make money out of a home environment, so working from home, selling a property, and so forth. But the second and the fourth house together is so much to do with security. So I want to create financial as well as emotional security at the same time, and the two of them can be tied together. Maybe it's kind of like a win, that is going to allow you to make a change to your home. And that could be making you feel a lot safer. When you realize that your self-worth is actually not tied to your family history. So it's about healing your roots as well. Or you might decide to spend a little bit more money on something that mothers you. Maybe you decide to buy a new bed, or I'm going to be eating healthier food. Because with Chiron, there are wounds to be healed here, and this is connected to your internal foundation. Or even this could indicate that you are ready to say goodbye to your own family histories, and then you are not going to be feeling outcasted anymore. Now, the next stop is Mars Vesta conjunction in your second house. And this is important because a few hours before Saturn moves into the fourth house. And the dispositor of Saturn is Mars. So that Mars and Vesta conjunction is basically imagine that being in your second house for a good 2.5 years. So this is about being focused on your financial foundation. So I'm gonna commit to saving. I'm gonna commit to building something. I'm gonna be focusing on being able to purchase a land, a home, and so forth. I think it could also indicate that you are kind of like burning away old ways of making money. Aquarius is about upgrade. So I want to be able to kind of work from home. I want to create a long-term security for me as well as for my family. This could talk to you about you turning your physical property into a source of income. Or, it's kind of like you spending the 2.5 next 2.5 year period, kind of like building an inner fortress of self-worth that isn't necessarily dependent on status or validation from family members. Kind of like doing something that is an unapologetic version of myself. So I would call it as a sacred passion type of archetype here. So you can be investing into an asset of yours. It's about discovering your own abilities, or you are ready to take responsibility for your financial future. Maybe you are about to be stepping into the role of the provider as well. We have got an opposition happening between Juno and Jupiter, and that is triggering your first and seventh house. And this could talk to us about a slightly bit of a friction within the partnership. While Jupiter would like to bring more experiences into your current relationship, it wants you to grow, it wants you to take risks, basically. But Juno is very committed on certain type of discipline. Like imagine that I would like to have 2 glasses of wine in the evening with my partner, but I am on a journey and therefore I kind of like, it's a split a feeling. The seventh house is us, and the first house is growth. So this is kind of like when someone is offering you a chance, the world, but you feel like accepting it, it would break somehow within you, that type of self-made person that you are. Or maybe what's disturbing here is that the partner is kind of like looking for meaning to life, and then you don't see them being as committed as you are to certain things. Or maybe the partner has become a little bit more emotional and it's a little bit difficult to wrap your head around it. This could even indicate that a person enters your life and challenges something connected to your self-image, and maybe telling you that you are too rigid, you have to loosen up a little bit, you have to live life to the fullest, you have to become a little bit more emotional. Or this is a professional collaboration and you are committing to kind of recreate your brand to be able to succeed. And this might be coming like a vision is coming from a potential partner. Maybe even I can imagine that the partner is a little bit quieter right now and there are important things to talk through, but you see certain type of resistance. Now, Arachne enters your first house as well this week. And Arachne is very much about a strategy. So it really feels like it's about self reinvention. You start treating your body, for example, as a project, and then you are ready to weave this new, more professional persona. You are not as impulsive anymore. You start viewing every move of yours as, kind of like a systematic effort. Or maybe you are going to notice that you start dressing with more attention to detail. So you are trying to match up the accessories with, certain color and so forth. But it's very much about mastering of who you are. It's about understanding kind of like the technical blueprints of your life, what your karmic path is. We also have got Amor entering your third house. And Amor is about where we can find unconditional love and potentially where we need to be able to forgive ourselves as well as others. So this is about using kind words, a simple conversation with a neighbor, with a sibling, and that could bring healing into our life. Or I can imagine that, we decide that it's better to use softer communication styles, or you're gonna start listening to your intuition more, or Even it could inspire you to be a little bit more artistic as well. It's kind of like noticing the divine beauty in your surroundings, you know. It's about paying a little bit closer attention of, you know, what's good and what's good around me. Or you are ready to merge your intuitive knowledge with your kind of like logical part of your brain as well. You can have that sense of feeling and sense of understanding of a topic also. And this might be triggered by conversations with others. There is a healing message to be shared here, potentially about love. So this could be brilliant time to write a poem, especially if you are struggling to express your feelings. It's kind of like being able to hear what others are saying to us clearer than ever before. Because now I kind of sense also what the content of their words are. And then we've got asteroid Lilith moving into your fourth house. And I find it important because Lilith is paving the path in front of Saturn. So it's just a couple of days apart when they are shifting into the sign of Aries, but Lilith is going to be the first. So this is happening in your fourth house. And, you know, this is about refusing to play the role of the parent, you know, what is expected from me. Everyone is expecting me to, I don't know, cook dinner or stuff like that. And we become a little bit rebellious about it. So, on one hand, this is about boundary setting. This is about people who are trying to cross the line when it comes to your private space. And you want to make a decision who I allow in and who I refuse the entry from. This is about reclaiming your power from a family curse, a generational pattern, or especially if you had experienced kind of like suppression many, many times by your family or within your family environment, Lilith is going to become rebellious about it. Or you are ready to actually get moving, you know. Maybe this is for many of the youngsters, like the young viewers, this could indicate that yes, I'm ready to take, for example, I'm ready to move into a rent. I'm going to become independent. So the vibe of the week for me, for you, Capricorn, is working on your financial foundation. It's about finding your own voice and your values as well. And it looks like that you are restructuring your home and family life. But in order for you to do that, it looks like in the next couple of years, you are going to be focusing on building your resources. You know, there is a total focus on your assets, on your skills, and Arachne can help you quite significantly to rebrand yourself, to become more mature. So, good luck, Capricorn rising, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye bye.